Hello, good morning. I hope that you're all well. It's been a long time since I've made a Flosstube. I've missed 2 Sundays. The first Sunday, Ray took me away for a long weekend at one of our favourite country house hotels in Devon, which is the next county. And although he wasn't very well, the lingering effects of the virus that we had before and over Christmas, we still did have a lovely time. Ray slept a lot, but I stitched, and the dogs, Hugo and Bertie Boo and myself, we had some wonderful walks. Where the hotel is, it's in a sort of like a deep valley with the Cowar running through. The Cowar is the river that is the boundary between Devon and Cornwall. We had some fabulous walks. The dogs really enjoyed themselves. I came home on the Monday, and on the Tuesday I drove up to London, and Wednesday I flew out to the attic for their sampler symposium. Now, the day I flew was the day that the flights were grounded in the US, but fortunately it didn't affect the international flights, and although it's a very long flight, it went very well. I got loads of stitching done on the flight. When you travel by yourself, you know, your stitching is your company, really. Now, I think Hugo is asking to go out. Yes, he is. I'm just going to let him out of the room. As I got up to let Hugo out, Bertie came in, so I think that probably Hugo is happy to stay in the room. Yes, you are, aren't you? Okay, so got over to Arizona. I couldn't believe it. My luggage was first out on the carousel. Got straight into a taxi, got to the event hotel, and there were a group of friends there. And it was just so lovely to walk in and see a group of my friends sat around a table. Just so nice. Anyway, the sampler symposium was amazing. Mary Cox, oh my gosh, she is a wonderful teacher. I really enjoyed listening to her talk and to teach. And the one project in particular, the pocket watches, oh, it was so beautiful, really, really lovely. But all her projects were lovely. I thoroughly enjoyed my presentation, and I think that it was very well received. We looked at 2 samplers, Sarah Milthorpe and Anne Campion, and we had to play a guessing game as to which sampler came from upstairs and which sampler came from downstairs, which was a upper class, middle class sampler, and which was a working class sampler, rich girl, poor girl. And to do that, we looked at the times in which the samplers were stitched. We looked at the girls' lives, and we looked at the sampler themselves. And it was a great game to play. Some ladies changed their minds throughout the talk, and other ladies just got it right straight off, but it was great fun. And I want to thank all the attendees for their participation in that presentation. It was good fun. Now, in the presentation, I spoke about women earning a living through their needle. And I think it's a misconception that women earned a living through slaving with their needle. Yes, there were lots of women that slaved over their needle to earn a pittance, but also women could be independent and successful business people through their needle. And there's a wonderful book called The Ingenious Trade by Laura Gowan, and this book looks at women and work in 17th century London. And it's very interesting. Now, this book is not a book you're going to sit down and read from back to front. It is an academic paper, so it is full of information. But if you are interested in female social history, and especially female social history linked to the needle, this is actually an interesting book. I've really enjoyed reading it, and the other thing that I've really enjoyed with this book is going to the footnotes and following up on other papers that are mentioned in the footnotes. And it's really led me down a rabbit hole of exploring women in business in centuries past, and in business because of their needle. Very, very interesting. Now, I'm going to just mention another book. When I was at the Symposium, Jean had some copies of Dawn Cook Roningen's new book. Now, her previous book on needlework tools is an amazing book. It's one that's very valued in my library, one that I look at an awful lot, and I'm sure that this book is going to be equally as good. Now, this book is on sewing rolls, needle rolls and housewives, and it's 150 years of history and tradition. Now, these went like hotcakes at the attic, but Jean is getting more books, and it's a let's have a look, 230 odd pages in the book, and it is full of amazing information about sewing rolls, housewives. Really, really interesting book. Now, I haven't had a chance to read it, but this is something that's going to be by the side of my bed, and I'm going to dip into this book every night when I go to bed until I've finished it, because Dawn really knows what she's talking about, and I can't wait to learn from this book. I just hold it there so you can freeze the screen to take the information down. Well worth getting for your needlework library. Okay, so what else happened? The whole weekend was amazing. I started my journey back on Monday. My plane left at, I don't know, about 8:30 in the evening Monday night. I got into Heathrow afternoon on the Wednesday, and I was exhausted. I was so tired. I went straight into the airport hotel, went to bed, and I slept all afternoon. I slept all evening, and I actually woke up at 9 o'clock the next morning. I don't think I've ever slept so much. And then I had a 6-hour drive back to Cornwall. And since I've got home, I've been trying to catch up with correspondence. All the orders that came in whilst I'm away were shipped on Thursday. So we're all up to date with that. But I literally came home to several hundred emails, and I am working my way through. If you've emailed me and haven't heard back, it's not because I'm ignoring you, I just haven't got to the email. I also got back to a house that was being redecorated internally, and oh my god, it's just absolute chaos. The decorators at the moment are working in the breakfast room and the kitchen, which is funny enough where most of my samplers were. Now my samplers are now piled on the floor in the billiards room and out in the hall. I didn't realise I had so many until they started to come down, and these are samplers that I've stitched. I've already put about 30 back up in our sort of TV room, our snug. My caretaker, who does all the drilling, is going to be very, very busy. I also came home to over 8,000 booklets that have been delivered. I've got to get those packed and shifted because I've got more booklets coming in. We have got something so special coming out soon. I can't wait to share it, but my lips are sealed so that it's a really lovely surprise for you. needlework. I finished my travel project, but I'm not going to show that just for a moment. I'm looking forward to a new start tonight. I had an idea whilst I was travelling, and this afternoon I'm going to gather my supplies together and make a start on it this evening. When I was over in the States, I got chatting to some needleworkers, and I was really touched that there's a lot of needleworkers that are planning to stitch Elizabeth Garrett for St. Patrick's Day, and that's just such a super idea. This sampler is not going to take anybody long to stitch at all. It flows. It's a really lovely, enjoyable stitch that will stitch up very quickly. It's just one colour of green. It's perfect for a St. Patrick Day's stitch. So I'm sure you're going to start to see some chatter about that on social media. Elizabeth is available as a printed booklet, or she's available as an instant PDF download. Very old sampler, $17.99, that's a long time ago. Beautiful little sampler. So yeah, a great St. Patrick's Day stitch. Now, just before I went away for the weekend with Ray, I released Mary Ann Priest, and I hadn't had a chance to do a video presentation on her since I released her. Here she is. Such a pretty sampler. I love all the red and the blues. I love the message, God is love. That's a message that really touches my soul. And something that I really love about Mary Ann was her inventiveness of fitting in her alphabet. She turned it into a little pyramid. I love this on my sampler wall. It's different, and I enjoyed stitching it so much. Very straightforward stitch. It's cross stitch over 2, and you can work this on Ada or linen. Now, Mary Ann is available in a booklet or as a PDF. Here she is. Mary Ann used 12 colours. I stitched the model with a Vera Soie 103, but there is a conversion for Soie d'Argent and DMC. One of the emails I had when I was away was asking for a DMC conversion for one of our booklets, and the lady didn't realise that all our releases, every single one, has a DMC conversion. So if you... Sorry, Bertie. If you go to our website, you go onto the sampler's webpage. Below the thumbnail pictures, we have tabs. The first tab is the thread legend, where you will find all the conversions and the quantities. The second tab is linen size. The third tab is stitch guide, and if there is a known chart correction, that will be another tab. Now, this little sampler, if you stitched her on 14 count Ada, 28 count linen, she'll be 1107 by 11.57 inches. If you stitched her on 18 count Ada, 36 count linen, should be 8.61 inches by 9 inches. And if you stitched her on 46 count linen, she would be 6.74 inches by 7.04 inches. She's such a sweet size. Now, in the booklet, we write about the alphabet and the history of the alphabet. And this sort of ties up with a message that I had about the next sampler we're going to look at, and it was querying why there was no letter J. Now, the letter J did not exist in the Greek, Latin or Hebrew alphabet, and it's surprising about the Hebrew alphabet, as you know, Jesus begins with a J. But it's more properly pronounced as, and I'm going to put this on the screen. Well, I can't say it, my tongue's too tied. And the letter J is relatively new to our alphabet, and I's and J's were interchangeable. And I'm just going to put on the screen some photographs of some fonts in an old book, and none of them have the letter J in the fonts. This little boy wants to go out. I'm just going to open the door. I am sorry about that. I think the little boy wanted to go out to go to the loo. Okay, so we were talking about the J. So that takes me to Emily Cowar, 1890, which is the sampler we released on Thursday. Isn't that gorgeous? But she doesn't have a letter J in her alphabet. The I represents both the I and the J. I love the turquoise in this sampler. Look at those beautiful, beautiful colours. I love the crispness of the alphabet as well. I love all the geometric patterns. These would make beautiful bookmarks or edging to a mattress. Pin cushion, and of course all of these are border patterns, and aren't they fabulous? Some of these would make, well, could you imagine stitching that and turning that into a little pin book, a needle book? That would work perfectly. This would make a beautiful ornament for your Christmas tree. There is so much in this sampler, whether you stitch it as a sampler or whether you utilise some of the elements of this sampler for making smalls. This is just so gorgeous. I love stitching this sampler. It was different. It was a new challenge for my needle, and it was great fun working out the best stitch paths to take for all of these patterns. It's cross stitch over 2, so can be stitched on Ada or linen, and Emily used 13 colours, and again I stitched it with Overa Soie 103, but there is a conversion for Soie d'Alger and DMC. The sampler is 147 stitches by 215, so on 28 count linen, 14 count Ada, it'll be 10.5 by 15.36 inches. On 36 count linen, 18 count Ada, it'll be 8.17 by 11.94, and on 46 count linen it will be 6.39 by 9.35. Now, we know that Emily is a continental sampler, but there was 2 possible Emilys. There was an Emily Charlotte Cowar who was born in Latvia, and there was also an Emily Cowar that was born in Ratibor, which is a Prussian district in Silesia, a German sampler. We don't know which of the 2 girls Emily is, but such a pretty sampler. Beautiful fresh colours for your sampler wall. They sing, they really do. Okay, so I have brought back lots of lovely things. I was given an awful lot of gifts when I was at the Symposium. It's my 60th birthday next month, and people were very, very kind. I haven't had a chance to unpack my suitcases. It's just been so hectic since I've got back, but in a future video I will be showing you some of the items that I brought back. Yes, I did bring back 1,950 spools of Overa Soie 103 in various shades of red. It's for a little special project that's coming up. I got them back safely. I had great fun getting everything in the boot of the car. I actually took my husband's car to London because he needed my car for the dogs. And I went up with a big suitcase with a smaller suitcase inside, and then half of the smaller suitcase was for my clothes and the other half was for samplers. And then when I came back, I came with the suitcases separate, and the big suitcase was full of the silks. But when I went to put them in the car, they wouldn't both fit in the boot. So I had to open the big suitcase, take all the silk out, put the small suitcase inside the big suitcase, close it up, put it in the boot, and then I literally had to stuff the car with all the silk where I could. I couldn't have fitted a sausage in the boot after I'd finished. It was so full. But anyway, the things we do for needlework. Okay, in the week ahead, I really hope to get through all those emails, whether it's the Hands Across the Sea samplers or the Great British Sampler Weekend. I plan to get my new project underway, and I hope that I finish packing all those booklets. You sure do keep me busy. It's a short one today, but I hope you've enjoyed looking at these 3 samplers and the books as well. Hopefully next Sunday we'll be sort of like back on a normal schedule, and I will be feeling on top of everything and fully recovered from my trip. I can't wait to go back to the States, but I've got to wait until May. It seems such a long way away. Anyway, stay well, stay safe, and until next week, bye-bye.